Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack and flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yup, what's good, original crew, man? We're back. Hey, man, we're back with another Patrick CC. Feel like we haven't done a Patrick CC video in a minute, huh? Mm-hmm. But hey, today, man, we got the suspicious celebrities exposed in the Epstein files. Y'all really been going through the files, huh? I've seen some stuff, but I ain't seen too much, man. Hey, but with that being said, before we get into it, make sure y'all check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go if you want to further support. All you got to do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's video,
lock it in with a thumbs up.
Hey, let's get it. Let's check this out. Let's see what's about. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
A monster like Jeffrey Epstein did not operate alone. His illegal trafficking enterprise was built around celebrities who never thought they'd be exposed. And after 3.5 million documents were publicized revealing the inner workings of the most disturbing criminal operation in modern history, celebrities are praying they won't be mentioned in this video. But nobody's safe. While names like Elon Musk, Bill Clinton, and President Donald Trump were expected to be in the files, there were a ton of shocking names that nobody expected. So in this video, I want to focus on the celebs that were connected to Jeffrey Epstein that nobody seems to be talking about. From the ones that claim they did nothing more than take a picture, to others that were deeply entangled in his secret network. The first is not a politician, not a CEO, but a magician, David Copperfield. Perhaps he wasn't your first guess, but David Copperfield certainly isn't a stranger to controversy.
I always heard the name, never know the face. Did you ever know? Have you heard the name? You ain't never heard of his name?
I don't think so.
Damn, I've always heard the name.
What's his name? David Copperfield?
Yeah, Copper. Yeah.
Okay, babe.
In 2007, he made headlines after being accused of essaying a woman named Lacey L. Carroll. She claimed that Copperfield had lured her to his private Caribbean island under the false pretense of helping her jumpstart a modeling career and then assaulted her. A federal investigation was conducted for 2 years until early 2010 when the case was dropped by the courts. Copperfield not only proclaimed that the allegations were false, but that he was actually the victim.
Finally, things, come to light. Unfortunately, in the press, what happens is
people remember the charge, they don't remember the exoneration.
Exactly. Not only exoneration, but I was the victim.
Throughout 2004 and 2005, David had left 16 different messages for Epstein, indicating that the two had a close personal relationship. In one message, he even affectionately referred to himself as Magic David. Legal representatives for Copperfield denied he ever personally reached out to Jeffrey. Any messages that were left would have been left by our client's office in response to a request by Epstein for tickets to a show. On top of that, they made it clear that Copperfield was not a friend of Jeffrey Epstein. However, the recent file dump paints a much different picture. It is true that Epstein frequently purchased tickets for David Copperfield's shows. However, it's also made clear that the two had a close personal relationship, with Copperfield being directly referred to as a friend of Jeffrey's. However, this was just the tip of the iceberg, as the details of Copperfield's 2007 investigation found their way into the released Epstein files. During the investigation, multiple alleged victims and witnesses were interviewed by the FBI. After Jeffrey Epstein's name was mentioned, the FBI wanted to see if the two had a criminal relationship. It reads, "A review of the evidence seized from search warrants executed on Copperfield's residence, warehouse, and at the MGM Grand Hollywood Theater where he performs, show a number of other occasions when he provided complimentary tickets to Epstein and his guests. Epstein's name and information is contained within Copperfield's personal telephone list. A clear connection between Copperfield and Epstein exists that requires further investigation to determine if they both shared a predilection for minors. In addition, the investigation needs to determine if they engage in referring possible victims to each other." Shortly after his name was revealed to be in the files, The Guardian published an article revealing that 16 different women had accused him of SA over the span of nearly 4 decades. More than half are alleged to have been teenagers, with one of them being as young as 15 years old. told. One of the girls supposedly was also a victim of Epstein and claimed that Copperfield asked if she was, quote, aware that girls were getting paid to find other girls for Epstein. If this was true, that would heavily imply that David was well aware of the trafficking operation and was potentially a part of it. But David vehemently denies any wrongdoing. His lawyer said, "Our client did not know about Epstein's horrific crimes. Like the rest of the world, he learned about it from the press. But when people saw this photo of Copperfield cozied up in a bathroom robe hugging on Ghislaine..."
Nah, I ain't gonna hold you. You connected to both of them. Shit. But the only thing with the list is, with all of this, the Epstein files and all this stuff, it's just hard to believe 100% what's all factual and what's all false. You know what I'm saying? The reason why for me is the timeliness of the release. Release it all at once. Quit picking and choosing when you want to release stuff and what you want to release. All the files are there. You go through. 9 times out of 10, everything that needs to be redacted is already redacted, and you just put it out. If you're gonna put it out, don't say, "Hey, we put out parts of it today." Months later, we put out another part of it, and then probably a year from now, we put out another part of it. We like, and that's my thing about credibility. Also, with these files, how we know that y'all might not go in there and change something? When the last time these documents has been updated? Are y'all going in there altering things? You get what I'm saying? I don't know what to believe when it comes down to it, because if y'all say y'all gonna release it all at once. Don't sporadically, because now my trust in you as the government, well, see, like, shit, I don't know what to trust in. I'm just saying as far as this situation, not like for, you know. What? Say what you feel.
Nothing.
Don't make all them expressions. You ain't gonna say your thoughts.
I mean, you talking about trust? Could you? I can't even get the words out because I'm like, what?
I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying why should the people believe that all this information is factual information? But also, that's my part of the conspiracy is some of it's false and some of it's true. So when you soak up in the false with the truth, it's hard to believe what's true.
I got you.
Because you can't differentiate the facts from the fiction.
Yeah.
And I do believe there's some fiction in it to mix up with so we can question some of it. You know what I'm saying? And that's my belief for them to sway what might end up coming out that they want y'all to question. Well, if they'll lie about this, how we know they ain't lying about everything? I think the government plays a dirty game.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's some people's game. That's their plan for some people.
And it's an ugly game to play, though. But most people in government are ugly anyway.
Maxwell, Jeffrey's second in command, they doubted that David had no idea what was going on. Additionally, an FBI memo sent from an agent who investigated Copperfield in 2007 claimed that he and Epstein had a, quote, very close relationship. In August of 2007, the Seattle FBI opened an investigation on David Copperfield in a relationship to a R-word of a young female. The investigation showed that Copperfield trained his employees to identify young females, teens to early 20s, in the audience of his shows. The females were separated from their boyfriends, families, and husbands and were brought backstage.
Oh, let me say this also. Say this. What I was saying wasn't in reference to this man, because I don't even know who this man is. Never, I'd heard the name, never knew the face. That wasn't what I was saying.
That's why sometimes timing is very important.
I know, because
if
a
you
lot
make
of people
a comment on something,
well, I hope people will pay attention and watch the whole video.
After one,
because I clearly said in the beginning I didn't even know who this man is. I just was relating my thought process and
at that moment.
Yeah,
that's why it's always good to kind of.
But I understand because we do have viewers who sometimes, you know what I'm saying, don't get it. But I also say this: haven't we seen this done before? Did we watch something? And that's how the same person was moving. And then we see it in real time. Like somebody had recorded it.
Yeah.
And we saw it in real time how this person moved. We was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It's been like that in real time. This is how they did recruit some people back in the day. They would have an event, a show, concert, whatever. They would have people that's already, you know what I'm saying, a part of it. They would have them helping the artist or the individual scout the people in the audience. And if they see somebody they're drawn to or attracted to, they had certain signals, and the people that was around them would go and surround. Boy, I really want to point it out. Because me and C watched the video. We said, damn, that's how they got this person. And the person also at that time was a minor, and they did go to the event with their parents, and this exact same thing happened. They had the people come surround them, separated them from their family, and was kind of able to wheel them in and say, hey, such and such wants you to come backstage. We want to bring you backstage. Those also were victims too. They just, you know what I'm saying, lured the new victim. And honestly, I think they do that sometimes to dirty your hand, so their hands are not the only ones that's dirty. So now when you try to come and rat on me, I got dirt on you as well.
Copperfield's employees were given access to a notebook that instructed them on how to provide Copperfield with females. He kept a notebook with the females he was with, included in the notebook that contained contact information, whether he had sex with them, and a photograph. I don't know if any of his victims were underage. There were allegations that he drugged some of the females. Considering Copperfield's history of allegations, the multiple FBI investigations on him, and the fact that he seems to have blatantly lied about his ties to Epstein, David Copperfield finds himself at the center of a PR nightmare. And in spite of his expertise as a world-famous illusionist, there's nothing he can do to make this scandal disappear. But if you thought Epstein rubbing shoulders with magicians was weird, you'll be suspicious of his relationship with NASCAR driver Brian Vickers. But before we dive deeper, at this point in my life, the most important thing to me is my health. I might have ignored
I feel you, Pat. We gotta get back into this.
of assisting. In 2015, Brian married a woman named Sarah Kellen, who is accused of assisting Epstein in his ex-trafficking operation.
Is that Sarah?
Is that her?
Right? Why would he show the picture? Let me see. Just let it play. Just let it go.
Woman named Sarah Kellen, who is accused of assisting Epstein in his ex-trafficking operation all the way back to 2003. Sarah's name can be found multiple times inside of Jeffrey Epstein's 2008 indictment, where she was listed as a co-conspirator. When Epstein was arrested a second time in 2019, her name began making the rounds in articles discussing the many behind-the-scenes faces who kept his operation afloat. Sarah publicly challenged the narrative that she played a part in Epstein's trafficking ring, actually framing herself as a victim of his, and claimed to have been frequently subjected to abuse at his hands.
And that could be true. She could.
Similar to what I was just speaking on.
She could be a victim, but sometimes
victims
become helpers or co-conspirators and stuff like that. So
that's what I was just speaking on.
Yeah, I know, babe.
So yeah, she could have once became and got so caught up into that world where she was a willing helper.
Because a lot of times it's manipulation, it's brainwashing, it's
sometimes it's willingness,
and sometimes it is. I mean, you can't never really
rule
say
that.
or determine if it's this or if it's that, because it's what you believe and what's really true, and then what the person said. I hate that because it definitely could be she could also be a victim. Because
some victims might point the finger at her and be like,
turn co-conspirator.
Yeah, because some victims could say, hey, she's the one who lured me in. She's the one who, anytime that I was going, she was the one that they appointed to punish me or something. So now you are a co-conspirator and not just a victim.
However, the filings tell a different story. Sarah was found to have scheduled flights for Epstein and his victims, as well as facilitating those same victims to perform massages for Epstein. One victim, under the pseudonym of Carolyn, alleged that Kellen took nude photos of her when she was underage. Sarah Kellen is accused of serving as Ghislaine Maxwell's second-in-command, taking over many of her responsibilities and directly facilitating the abuse of countless numbers of victims. By the time Brian Vickers married Sarah, she had allegedly allegedly moved on from her role in the operation, avoiding jail time as a part of Epstein's non-prosecution agreement, cutting her losses, and starting off a new life as an interior designer. However, the ties to Epstein don't stop there.
But she already gains access. Yeah, I can cut ties, but I've already built those connections. I've already got that. Man. It's deep.
Brian also had a personal relationship with the Predator, which both predates and overlaps with his marriage to Sarah. In 2012, Brian Ford...
I'm still stuck on, like, this is a lot, bro. We only said, man.
And she really out there with him.
And I want to say this, y'all, my brain is all over the place, first of all, because this is just too much for me anyway. Or she could not, I know she said but that could also be false. She could just be a co-conspirator. She could just be helping him.
I can hold you. She looking. He ain't got no shirt on. But unless he got like a low cut.
A low cut, yeah.
But why would you have a low cut when it's cold out?
He probably got a little top shirt. I don't know.
Nah, he probably ain't got no shirt on up underneath.
I don't know, but that's neither here nor there.
I'm just saying he might be a little freaky boy.
Well, okay.
That is what
let's go, babe.
But she look like she comfortable though. She look like just strolling with daddy.
However, the ties to Epstein don't stop there. Brian also had a personal relationship with the Predator, which both predates and overlaps with his marriage to Sarah. In 2012, Brian forwarded an email to Epstein titled Male Fairy Tale, which I recommend that you pause and read because it is hilariously pathetic. But since...
It's right here.
Is this like because it's once upon a time a prince asks a beautiful princess, will you marry me? The princess says no. This is directly to...
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you gonna finish?
No, I mean, because it's not
lived
a real...
happily ever after. It's I'll say this. It's a legit...
Oh, is it like a...
It's a...
Is it one of those type of emails?
Yes. It's coded. They're talking in code.
Oh, okay.
And the prince lived happily ever after and rode motorcycles and get skinny big broads.
Okay, I'm glad I didn't read
and hunted.
Cause what?
And hunted and raced cars and went to naked bars and dated women half his age and drank whiskey. Half his age, what's that? You 30 and half his age 40 and half.
Come on, bro.
You don't know. Beer and Captain Morgan and never heard bidding. Yeah. I left the ching. I ain't out of it. And never paid child support or alimony and ate the.
Ooh! And what?
Cheerleaders. No.
Okay, let me just finish.
In the dookie.
Okay.
In the booty. And booty bumped cheerleaders and kept his house and guns and never got cheated on while he was at work. On all his friends and family thought he was freaking cool.
Okay, freaking cool.
Cool as hell.
And had tons of money in the bank and left the toilet seat up. ... The end.
This a little deep. This got some telling going on.
Cause what are we talking about?
Oh, and race cars. Brian.
What?
No.
Yes.
Haunted and race cars and went to naked bars and dated women half his age. Let me see. How old is he? Let's see something. 42 now. So if you go, this was in 2012. So he was born in 83.
Do the math, babe. Quick math.
Hold on. He was born in 83. So around this time, he would have been 29. Around 29, 28, 29. Women half his age. Ain't no women half his age. Girls are half his age. Because if he was 42, if he's 42 now, turning 43 this year, because you go 83. In 93, he would have been 10. 2003, he would have been 20. Coming up in 2023, he would have been 30. Mm-hmm. So you just take a one away. Actually, he was 28 at the time. So what's half his age? 14? 14, 15?
fairy tale, which I recommend that you pause and read because it is hilariously pathetic. But since the email itself is romantically graphic, it indicates that Brian and Epstein were close enough to discuss these explicit subjects. The recent file dump also shows a prenuptial agreement for Brian Vickers and an unnamed spouse. We can assume the spouse is likely Sarah Kellen because Epstein also sent an email to a Sarah K that says, "Is you prenup not finished? Anything you want me to do?" Brian's name shows up in various...
That's how he literally used to type very, like, illiterate a little bit.
Talking about...
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah. I've seen some of his...
Is you prenup not finished? Anything you want me to do?
Because sometimes reading his, like, how he responded in emails, it was very hard.
Is you prenup not finished? Anything you want me to do? Brian's name shows up in various other places in the files. In one email, Brian inquires about potentially meeting up to go bowling together, and others show mortgage loans taken out in his name. However, one of the most troubling emails comes from as recently as 2019, when Brian sent Jeffrey Epstein a video for Valentine's Day. It reads, "Thought you would like this. Happy Valentine's, buddy. Winky face." It's uncertain what this video is, but considering it was Valentine's Day and the two had actually explicit conversations before, in addition to their friendship and ties spanning nearly 2 decades, people are assuming the worst. But
it could have been like a GIF too. We don't know. GIF, we don't know. It just says, I'm just saying, like, we can't think of the worst of the worst. But it could have been plethora of anything. But your mind is room to speculate whatever. Because we don't know the
speculate.
I'm just saying it could have been a heart with a little on a card. You never know.
But why?
You never know.
Friendship and ties spanning nearly 2 decades, people are assuming the worst. The NASCAR driver's personal relationship with Epstein, along with his wife's history as being an integral piece of the ex-trafficking operation, leaves more questions about their marriage than answers. And the two notably divorced in 2025. A couple of weeks ago, Brian randomly posted a selfie to Twitter while fans begged him to address his obvious ties to Epstein. But if you thought it was shocking that Jeffrey Epstein's network expanded into professional sports athletes, it actually gets crazier, as he was also connected to owners of professional sports teams, like Steve Tish, owner of the New York Giants. Emails reveal Tish had a close relationship with Epstein, as the two frequently met up for Giants games and even...
I ain't got no glasses, but...
Oh, those your glasses.
Yeah, those my glasses. You know how...
I was like, if you did the one finger, I would have got it. It was the 2 fingers. I was like, are you covering your nose? What's happening?
Nah, but...
Yeah.
I need, like, Charlemagne.
You gotta get you some little glasses, child.
I need glasses like Jordan when he be throwing them, just to put...
Cause y'all, this is too much for me, man.
And personal meetups at his home. They also had personal discussions about redacted women, such as this email titled Ukrainian Girl. Tish writes, "Hi Jeffrey, I just had lunch with your assistant's friend, redacted. Very sweet girl. Do you know anything about her? Thanks, Steve." Epstein responds, "No, but I will ask."
I just had lunch with your assistant's
friend, redacted the name, who I met at your house Wednesday morning. Very sweet girl. Do you know anything about her? Question mark.
But it's your assistant's friend.
Yeah. Friend.
Friend of the assistant. Who was the assistant?
Assistant's friend.
She got hella friends.
Assistant's friend. Redacted. We don't know who the person is.
Mm-hmm. And they love them some Ukrainian girls. I've seen a couple.
What's this one up there?
I've seen a couple of them speak out.
He replied back
and say they love Ukrainian girls. Cause they have a certain look about them.
Did we watch something else?
I don't know.
All confidential. I will get all info. Did you contact the great ass fake tit redacted? She's a character. Short term. Has an older boyfriend going to acting school. A 10 ass. I'm happy to have you as a new, but obviously shared interest friend. Steve Tish then asks if the girl is a professional ex-worker or a regular civilian. To which Epstein cryptically responds, "Send me a number to call. I don't like record records of these conversations,
Oh.
only
Well, they
for
already
Epstein to
records,
report
bro.
back to Tish, "You did very well. She wants to go to the play. She is a little freaked out by the age difference, but go slow and wait. I will try to convince her not to return to Ukraine." Having her crying worked. If Epstein was concerned about records of this conversation, many are assuming that the two men were discussing some sort of illegal activity. And with Epstein's track record, it's hard to imagine they're simply discussing consenting adult workers. Another email correspondence shows Epstein trying to connect Steve to more girls. Steve asks if he can expect any trouble. Epstein suggests inviting a Russian girl and gives Steve's her contact information. One conversation shows Epstein mentioning that he has a new present for Steve and asks for a time to meet for lunch. Steve asks, "Is my present in New York City? And can I get my surprise to take to lunch tomorrow?" While the two are attempting to speak in coded language, it's hard to see this as anything other than discussing a human being, specifically a girl. We also see a correspondence between Steve and an anonymous girl. "Hi, redacted. How are you today? Jeffrey Epstein is very excited about you and I meeting each other. I like that idea. Do you?" After not hearing back from the girl, Steve forwarded the email chain to Epstein, informing him that the girl he had set her up with had fallen through. Not only were Steve and Epstein close, it was very clear that their relationship was heavily predicated around Jeffrey introducing him to much younger women. Now, there is no direct confirmation that any of these girls were under the age of consent, which is a fact that Steve used to his advantage in his official response. "We had a brief association where we exchanged emails about adult women, and in addition, we discussed movies, philanthropy, and investments. I did not take him up on any of his invitations and never went to his island. As we all know, he was a terrible person and someone I deeply regret associating with." Most of the women discussed in these emails appear to be college students. As you can see Epstein writing things like, "Oh, she's still in class."
How many people still go to class? First grader, second grader, third grader, fourth
I
grader,
see-
fifth grader, sixth grader, seventh grader,
I
eighth grader, ninth grader, 10th grader, 11th grader, 12th grader.
I seen.
I think they all go to class, right?
I,
not just college
Why
students.
you keep talking while I'm talking?
Because I'm not finished. I
I'm,
was never finished. But go. Go.
I was just about to say, when you kept pausing, I had seen something that he didn't read. It was talking about her major or something. But they could be made up. Not on this one. It was like way back. You don't have to take it back
Oh, my
though.
bad.
But it was like a couple emails back. But
I do know people who go to certain
Yeah, I
schools
know.
have certain.
right. I'm saying maybe that was just also a thing to cover your butt or whatever the case may be. Don't know. But regardless of the fact, y'all old enough to be these
'Cause
folks' granddaddy.
In 2013, he's 77. I just looked up his net worth.
Oh,
You
I
go,
was trying to look up his age.
yeah, he's 77.
Oh,
I
he's
just said
77.
that.
Yeah.
But you go back 10, 13 years ago. That's 13. Do the math.
What is it?
64.
Mm.
Still somebody, your granddaughter. I'm saying your grandchild age.
Yeah.
Why are
Your granddaddy age.
I'm saying
Yeah.
anybody you mess with that's
I feel
college and younger is young enough to be
yeah.
a granddaughter.
Yeah.
So why are you having interest in that? Like it's different. Somebody your daughter age and they in their 40s. I'd be like, you know what I'm saying? She old as hell. He old as hell. Yeah, there's a big age gap. Yeah, she old enough to be his daughter, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? Two old motherfuckers knocking at each other's door. She's 40, 64.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That would have been different.
However, the possibility of other individuals being underage is not entirely off the table. Steve claims to not have been aware of the terrible person that Epstein was, yet most of his interactions take place well after Jeffrey was imprisoned in 2008, leaving many to speculate that more sinister behavior lies beneath the surface. Now, I have to mention that not everyone found in the Epstein files is inherently guilty of wrongdoing, and even some found themselves in headlines for what appears to be a complete misunderstanding, such as the the legendary professional skateboarder Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk has been a frequent target of tabloids, as his 3 divorces in 20 years was perfect for gossip and unfounded rumors in the media. After the release of the Epstein files, people were shocked to see his love life has become the subject of media attention once again. An email sent by a threat intake officer at the FBI details an anonymous tip provided by an anonymous victim of Jeffrey Epstein. The girl claims to have been abducted at the age of 5 and was trafficked for 8 years straight, enduring unspeakable crimes at the hands of various powerful men. At age 13, she found herself on Little St. James Island and supposedly witnessed Tony Hawk getting married to one of his wives.
This one of the biggest questions I always have since the beginning of all this, right? How does someone that young find themselves away on a private island? You had to take a flight and all this without the parents like indicating or knowing where their child is. That young? Mm-hmm. I've always had that question. It's just like, are we not like? And I know you could have been like, hey, could have been sleepover at the friend's house. Could have went. I'm just wondering a lot with that. Like, are we supposed to be going to summer camp or some type of camp, and which is a lie? But you as a parent, why are you not looking into certain things more deep? And I'm not blaming the parents at all. I'm just wondering, how does, you know what I'm saying? Like, what was said, what was stated for your child? Obviously, this is not even just a one-day flight and back. This is gone.
I definitely hear what you're saying. I agree with you to a certain extent. As far as the parent situation, I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence about that.
I'm not blaming. I'm just wondering what was told to you for your.
Right, I heard what you said. You said that. I said, but in certain situations, we've seen where some parents are not great parents, and they sometimes know things, and they.
That is true.
You know what I'm saying? And it just be like, because you do have a lot of. Yeah, I'm not saying in these situations. I mean, and I don't know, like, the dynamic of everything or just whatever, but we've seen situations where parents do be aware. So
that is true. That is 100% true. It's just
on Little St. James Island and supposedly witnessed Tony Hawk getting married to one of his wives during her time on Epstein's Island. Images of Tony's 2006 wedding ceremony were discovered, visibly taking place on a tropical island with beaches and palm trees. Plus, the photographer credited for capturing the ceremony was a man named Mark Epstein, coincidentally the same name of Jeffrey Epstein's brother. For many, this was all the proof they needed for the allegations to be credible. However, others see this whole thing as a misunderstanding. The wedding from 2006 was actually held in Fiji, thousands of miles away from Little St. James, and the Mark Epstein who photographed the event has no blood relation to the infamous human trafficker. Tony Hawk personally clarified in a post made to his Instagram that his first 2 weddings were held in California, his third in Fiji, and his most recent in 2015 was at the Adair Manor in Limerick, Ireland, a prestigious 5-star luxury hotel. The key to solving this mix-up is written in this report. She flew to Ireland for politicians and notable men. They would have sex with the young woman, and she was taken from Ireland and brought to Jeffrey Epstein's island when she was 13 years old. It's likely that the powerful men took advantage of the young girl during her stay at the hotel in Ireland, which happened to be at the exact same time that Tony Hawk was being married, and she potentially witnessed the wedding ceremony when it occurred. But since she was immediately taken to Epstein's island right after, she potentially mixed up the 2 events since they were in such close proximity to each other. Plus, she submitted this report 10 years after this happened. It's extremely common for victims of prolonged abuse to misremember key details, especially considering she was a child. And while Tony Hawk's situation seems to be a misunderstanding, Woody Allen's connections to Epstein are far more suspicious. Woody Allen has been controversial long before his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein was revealed. He was the subject of SA allegations by his adopted daughter Dylan Farrow, who claims he had abused her at only 7 years old. These allegations were corroborated corroborated by his now ex-wife, Mia Farrow, alleging that he had also abused their son Satchel at only 5 years old. These allegations have never been proven accurate in a court of law. However, Woody's behavior with other adoptive children makes them difficult to doubt. In 1997, Woody married Mia Farrow's other adopted daughter, Soon-Yi Previn, who was only 10 years old when she first met the disgraced filmmaker. Safe to say, people weren't all too surprised to find out that this
I said, didn't we do a video that was?
Yeah, everybody know about this fool. He is who. Yes.
I was just trying to make sure that this was the same situation.
Yeah.
Because I be mixing stories up.
No, you know about him.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then let me see. Did you see his age?
Oh, no.
the disgraced filmmaker. Safe to say, people weren't all too surprised to find out that this guy was rubbing shoulders with the most notorious predator to ever exist. In September of 2025, Allen spoke with The Times where he discussed a dinner event he attended with Epstein in 2010, months after he was released from prison, claiming to be unaware of why Jeffrey was locked up. He told us he'd been in jail and that he had been, I can't remember the word, but that he'd been falsely put in jail in some way. But even after learning the full truth, he still went on to describe Epstein as charming and personable. Woody seemed to be entirely unfazed that his friend was a predator, and when asked if he regretted his frequent visits to his home, he said, "Well, I'm a writer, so I don't get put off. Those dinners were fascinating, and when it was all uncovered, it becomes interesting to a writer, because then you're dealing with a kind of nefarious character on your doorstep." So basically, he thought Jeffrey was an interesting character for a story instead of what he actually was, a horrible, disgusting criminal. Hundreds of pages of text conversations between Allen and Epstein have been made public.
What video was that we did and they were talking? Oh, Ryan Mango. Remember those dinners? Remember the money dinners that they used to have? They come and have dinner and then they get dessert on top of the dinner.
Oh,
He
yeah.
said those dinners were fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't know what dinners they have, but I'm talking about, but I don't know if those dinners are...
Hundreds of pages of text conversations between Allen and Epstein have been made public. Some show the two setting up dinner plans, and others show discussions about an article that was released talking about his alleged assaults on his stepchildren. Emails between Epstein and Woody's wife, Soon-Yi, show Epstein referring to Woody's scandal as a witch hunt. He writes, "Have to be careful. The crowd needs a witch to burn, and there are not many left." It also appears that Epstein pulled a few favors for Allen. In one text message, we see
Go back to this. Right here.
many left. It also appears that Epstein pulled a few favors for Allen. In one text message, we see Woody thanking him for supposedly assisting his daughter in getting accepted to Bard College. President of Bard, Leon Botstein, rejected Epstein's involvement in her acceptance, calling him a serial liar who apparently took credit for the sun rising each day. Epstein also seemed to take credit for facilitating a tour of the White House for Woody and his wife in 2015, with the help of former White House counsel Kathy Rumler. While there doesn't appear to be any direct evidence,
why would he be thanking him? And it might not be Jeffrey contacted you, but Jeffrey has his contacts that might have contacted you, and he's facilitating everything behind the scenes because he's has his hands in everybody's pockets. So, say for instance, Woody called Jeffrey. "Hey, Jeffrey, could you? Yeah, I know. I can get you." He calls one or two people. They call you to put in a word. Okay, you vouching, and then boom, they call Jeff and be like, "Hey, we got that worked out for you." Gets back to Woody. Yeah, he's gonna think you might not have talked directly to Jeff, but it might be facilitated and orchestrated by Jeffrey. Mm-hmm. That's how things happen. Because one person knows somebody that knows somebody that, "Hey, I need you to scratch my back because I've been scratching yours for a good minute."
And I guess he don't never have on no just
of them committing crimes together, Woody Allen's personal scandals and him clearly being friends with Epstein don't make him look any less guilty. And what you'll notice is that Epstein frequently associated with men who had their own ex-scandals, such as Brett Ratner. Brett Ratner is best known for his role as director of the Rush Hour trilogy. However, he most recently got attention as the director of Melania, a documentary following the life of the First Lady, Melania Trump. Pictures released by the Department of Justice show Ratner, Epstein, and two anonymous women all cozied up together, Ratner sporting a devious and unsettling look on his face. He responded to the photos immediately. "About 20 years ago, I had a girlfriend. I was in love with her. We were engaged. She was my fiance. We went to an event and we were sitting on the couch and the photo was taken at that event. I didn't have a personal relationship with him. I didn't know him. And that's where the picture was taken. I didn't even remember because I'd been asked in the past, 'Do you know him?' And I'm like, I don't think so, because I didn't have a personal relationship with him."
I don't think so.
I don't take photos with people
And
I
that
personally
couch,
don't know.
that couch look a little too, like, why, like, huh?
Especially in an intimate setting, I don't take photos with people I don't know. Now, it's different, you know what I'm saying, if you a celebrity and you taking a photo with a fan.
He says,
but I'm going to stand up and we're going to do like a fan photo.
But you said, but that's different,
but
right?
That's an intimate photo.
You say you don't think you know him or person, whatever, and then next thing you say your fiance invited
that's like
you to the event.
you sitting down, right? And there's somebody we don't know come in and say, "Hey, can we get a photo?" Like, and we hugged up, and like, "Oh, let's take a photo." We'd be like, "Nigga, no. What the fuck? I feel like, no, I don't know these folks. No."
You saying just like you
just say we out somewhere, just like vibing, just at some event, like a little lounge area. And somebody come, and it's a couch right there.
I would take a photo with him, but not on the couch all hugged up.
I'm saying we're hugged up, we're booed up, but it's on a couch, and and then somebody else just come in and say, "Oh, let's take a photo together." We don't. I don't know
like
you.
That. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
While Brett chalks up the photo to a chance encounter, it
appears
appears
to
to
be
be
hands
far
over
from the
there.
case. In an
The hands
darn near his lap.
And honestly,
come on. Oh, and then your fiance. Is this supposed to be your fiance? That's too intimate, bro. That's too.
And look at the posture of Jeffrey, and look at the posture of him.
No.
Jeffrey's like, I'm in control because the biddy's on me, not on you.
No.
Email from 2012, a woman named Peggy said to Jeffrey Epstein, sitting next to Brett Ratner, he produced Woody's 3-hour documentary that was just shown at Cannes. We are about to see the Roman Polanski documentary. Brett says hi, and he loves you. We also see emails sent to Ratner directly, in which Epstein is trying to call him about something that has been redacted. Epstein also discussed Ratner's contact information with one of his aides, Leslie Groff, establishing a line of connection between the two. The two seemed to remain close throughout the 2010s, as a meeting with Brett Ratner was found in Epstein's personal calendar in 2018. However, Ratner continues to claim that he never spoke to Epstein before or after the image was taken.
And I was never been in contact with Jeffrey Epstein before that photo, and I was never in contact with him after. So that's a picture of me and my fiance at some event.
Ratner's history certainly doesn't make him look any better. In 2017, he was accused of SA by 6 different women, as well as sexual harassment from an 18-year-old Elliot Page. Epstein certainly had a vested interest in associating with large names in the entertainment industry, but he also cared deeply about keeping close ties to those in the world of science and philosophy, such as Noam Chomsky. In 2023, Epstein's calendar became publicly available, revealing a scheduled meeting between himself and Noam Chomsky. When asked about his relationship with Epstein by the Wall Street Journal, Chomsky said in an email, "First response is that it is none of your business, or anyone's. Second is that I knew him and we met occasionally." This statement indicates that they were acquaintances at best. However, Noam himself has gone on record to clarify that they were much more than that. In a letter of support for Epstein, Noam writes, "The impact of Jeffrey's limitless curiosity, extensive knowledge, penetrating insights, and thoughtful appraisals is only heightened by his easy informality, without a trace of pretentiousness. He quickly became a highly valued friend and regular source source of intellectual exchange and stimulation. Emails show Epstein inviting Noam and his wife to hang out together. Enjoyed today as always. Come to New York or the Caribbean? Noam writes, Valeria's always keen on New York. I'm really fantasizing about the Caribbean island. I have to figure out a way to work clear of endless commitments. His wife, Valeria, also directly communicated with Epstein, apologizing for missing his birthday and promising to have their own personal celebration the next time they meet up. However, Valeria has now publicly come out to defend herself and her husband, who is recovering from a stroke suffered in 2023. Noam and I recognize the gravity of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes and the profound suffering of his victims. Nothing in this statement is intended to minimize that suffering, and we express our unrestricted solidarity with the victims. She explains that they were unaware of his previous conviction of soliciting a child for prostitution and were introduced to him as a philanthropist supporting science and a financial expert. Supposedly, Epstein encircled Noam with frequent gifts and opportunities to connect with high-profile individuals for conversations. However, Noam had spoken with Epstein about his poor reputation only months before he was arrested in 2019. I'd love your advice on how I handle my putrid press. It is spiraling out of control. Do I have someone write an op-ed, defend myself, or try to ignore it? Noam responded with, the horrible way you are being treated in the press and public. It's painful to say, but I think the best way to proceed is to ignore it. I've had plenty of experience, though of course not on this scale. Valeria claims that Noam was manipulated, and Epstein used him to help repair his reputation through positive association, but she fails to explain the fact that Noam and Epstein were photographed together on his private jet. It's unknown where they were coming from or where they were headed, but people will only assume the worst with surrounding context. But Noam Chomsky was not the only academic to be seen associating with Epstein, such as the now deceased astrophysicist Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking's life story served as a source of inspiration. He was living proof that physical limitations could never outwork perseverance and dedication. However, his reputation has since been destroyed as his name being associated with Jeffrey Epstein. It was revealed that Hawking visited Epstein's compound in the US Virgin Islands to attend a conference discussing gravity. It's uncertain if any illicit activity took place during his stay, but there was a connection nonetheless. However, new details were revealed regarding Stephen Hawking in an unsealed email between Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein from 2015. Hawking was accused by Virginia Giuffre, one of the most prominent victims of Epstein's trafficking operation, of participating in an underage orgy. In the email, Epstein is seen discussing with Maxwell about offering a cash reward for any of Virginia's friends or family to disprove the claims. The claims of an orgy involving Hawking only exist within this email exchange, and since now Hawking and Giuffre are both deceased, it's uncertain if there will ever be clarification regarding this allegation. The deeper we get into the list of names, the more vague and cryptic the stories become. The lack of concrete evidence is good for those involved, however, with less information, there is more room for speculation, and there are various names that have popped up with little context surrounding their involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. The most notable of these individuals is Michael Jackson, who was photographed with Epstein. The King of Pop has a long history of scandals involving his relationship with young children. While he has never been formally proven of any misconduct, theories regarding his propensities still remain a topic of discussion to this day, and discourse began swirling once again with the release of this image. By all accounts, Michael Jackson's affiliation with Epstein appears to be extremely minimal. This singular photograph was taken during a film festival in Palm Beach, and Jackson was supposedly house hunting in the area when Epstein asked for a photo. One of Epstein's victims claims to have met Jackson in Epstein's mansion in Palm Beach, however stated that there was no wrongdoing to speak of. Justin Bieber is briefly mentioned in an email from a woman named Peggy Segal, who claims she attempted to set up a 17-year-old Bieber with a 14-year-old Haley Steinfeld. Epstein took a particular interest in Justin, especially during his run-ins with the legal system. Justin Bieber also hired one of Epstein's attorneys for one of his DUI trials, leaving a vague but present connection between the two. Handfuls of other celebrities were seen photographed with Epstein, such as the lead singer of the Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger, and actor and comedian Chris Tucker, who explained that he had no idea who Epstein was, but was on his plane.
That was a humanitarian trip to Africa. I met him on that trip because it was his plane. I didn't know who plane we was getting on, but it was a whole bunch of dignitaries military people. We was with a delegation. Yeah, I met him, and you know, you don't know people, what they do in their private lives, so.
This would explain why Chris Tucker was photographed with Ghislaine Maxwell. However, there are some more emails that indicate a potential closer relationship with Epstein. It reads, Chris Tucker will be stopping by to see J.E. sometime before his show tonight. No exact time was given. And Chris Tucker called to say he will be in New York this Monday and wondered if you could do dinner. While his humanitarian trip to Africa took place in 2002, years before Epstein was even convicted, these emails were sent after his 2008 sentencing, meaning the two remained in contact after the fact. Other surprising names were found in the files, such as Leonardo DiCaprio, Cameron Diaz, and Bruce Willis. According to witness testimony, Epstein would frequently brag to his victims about being friends with high-profile celebrities, despite never meeting them personally. Leonardo DiCaprio seemed to attend dinners hosted by Epstein on multiple occasions. In spite of this, DiCaprio denied ever associating with Epstein in 2024. Other names like Cameron Diaz and Bruce Willis are far less certain, as they only appear in witness testimony as names that Epstein would brag about knowing. Heavyweight rappers like Jay-Z and Pusha T found themselves in the files for the same reason, witness testimony, although they are more directly accused of committing crimes. An anonymous tip given to the FBI alleged that a woman was frequently abducted and drugged, and claims that on one occasion she awoke in the presence of Harvey Weinstein and Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z, while Weinstein inserted his fingers into Redacted. Redacted believed she was in Epstein's mansion in Florida. The report also alleges that Weinstein and Pusha T also attended the party and drugged her before engaging in abuse. However, considering this is an anonymous tip with very little factual information given to be able to cross-reference, it's hard to confirm. And surprisingly, considering Harvey Weinstein's history of allegations, this is one of the only places he is found in the files. Many demanded the Epstein files be released in hopes of receiving clarity, but it seems that all that's been revealed has only given us more questions that are left unanswered. One of the most cryptic discoveries in the files is a screenshot of a missed call from Rihanna. Is this the world-renowned pop star? And if so, who was she calling? What does this screenshot do other than distract us and leave tons of room for speculation? Then again, names we never could have imagined have now been connected to one of the largest criminal operations in human history, and yet a conclusion to the situation seems to be nowhere in sight. But I think it's safe to say that we cannot trust anyone, including Oprah Winfrey, who has convinced the world she was this philanthropic and kind-hearted woman, but her suspicious controversies tell a different story. But check out this video if you want to hear more about that.
That was a lot.
But that was the video, y'all. Y'all spam us up, y'all let us know y'all thoughts about it for us in the comments down below for us, man. But until next time, y'all know how it go, man. I do go by the name DJ New Kid. This is
Sierra Nicole.
We are.
Kid and C.
We are.
No time to kick it, got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar, 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 dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar, 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 dollar. Let me watch out for my partner.